Okay, today I'm going to cover bringing in a site outside of our theme engine. So bringing in any site, whether it's a theme you bought, whether it's your current website from another hosting provider, a WordPress site, Elementor site, doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to bring it into the platform. I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, another 3-hour video on how to import to this technology. Not the case. We've made it so simple for anybody to really come in and import any site. In most cases, right? There's still cases, lingering cases from all the, once we released this, so 24 hours ago, there's been thousands of sites that have been imported. There's still a percentage that don't quite make it over. And the reason behind that is why I built this CMS. All these platforms have super bloated code, crazy stuff, right? And so we've spent the last year mapping mass majority of them to get sites into our platform. If you're familiar with our CMS or at least attempted to import something on your own and you're not an advanced user, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It seems complex, however, it's not. You have full control once you truly understand it. I'm not discrediting the fact that it's complex, but I'm saying once you understand why I built it this way, the flexibility, the scalability, the ease of bringing in a site or theme or client site into the platform at scale is why I built it. Starting with WordPress, even with a theme and trying to set up your hosting environment and get all that stuff set up, whether you bought the theme or cloned the theme or not, starting and understanding as an advanced user on our platform really differentiates our CMS from anything out there. And there's many that can attest to that. Now, the mass majority can't, right? Because they're not advanced users on our CMS. They don't know HTML or CSS, or maybe they just don't want to follow the 3-hour training that I have, and I understand that. And so there's a lot of things too on troubleshooting themes. There's a lot of stuff that happens with these sites because the code is just so bad. And bringing it into our infrastructure, which has simplified that process, there's a lot of challenges. So this functionality that we just released allows anyone to take your current site, a theme that you bought, a theme that's free, a site that you want to mirror, those kinds of things you can bring into our platform in a matter of minutes, if not seconds. And so I want to break that down in this video. In addition to that, I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the things that advanced users do so you can get a better understanding of just the CMS in general and give you, just insight or ideas that can come from this, because the possibilities are endless, especially if you leverage our workflows that automatically generate these websites when customers sign up, even applying the domain and making these sites on demand. There's a lot of opportunity once you grasp our CMS, and I hope, and I see it, that this is the bridge between advanced and the mass majority of users that we have that just want to come in and work with something they know and exist or already exist, or again, if you're building something from scratch, you can do it on our platform. But I built this platform based on years of experience for me as an advanced user at scale. So once you understand the platform and understand how to use it, of course, it's super powerful. But you've been bred to learn all Elementor and these other platforms, and so coming from us, it is different. So I appreciate the learning curve and the lack of knowledge with our platform and the hesitation, right? So hopefully this bridges that gap, puts you in a place where you can start leveraging our more advanced functionality, such as a loop data app module where you can build your own plugins, just being able to fully control, our near me technology and again, monetizing, a collection of themes or monetizing a collection of assets for a specific niche. I mean, this is the power of Ligna that I hope this makes it a little bit easier for you to bring those digital assets in when you start talking about websites and things like that. So let me jump right into that side of the house. Okay, so what you're looking at here underneath CMS funnels, we call it funnels, but you can build websites, landing pages, blog, whatever, right? So it's called funnels, but it can be whatever you want. Here, you're limited. So if you're not an advanced user, you're going to come in and here are your options. We don't have thousands of themes. We're not, this $5 a month website building software or whatever you have out there. And again, I don't really want to get into that as far as like the code side, but even at WordPress, right? So, buying a theme from WordPress, installing WordPress, and there's still a level of knowledge that needs to take place to get your WordPress site up and rolling. And then if you go into like Elementor, you still have a little bit of, more than just a regular user who's coming in. But once you get a site in there, your client, anybody, point and click, change, whatever you want to do, our CMS does the same thing. You just got to understand how to use it. However, your limitation is that starting point. So here we have our themes, right? So if you come into the Thrive theme or the Flow theme, this is like going out to ThemeForest, and it brings in all the pages and the content blocks. Matter of fact, let me just quickly show you. As you go in, you have the ability, again, double click on images to change out your images that you want, change out your text. Everything's layer driven, so you can come in here and manipulate all the layers, but you can literally come in here to our block section and just drag over whatever content block. So as you build out your conversion architecture, rearrange these, change these however you want, you can quickly do that. However, if you don't like this theme, what's the point, right? You may have to come in here and do a lot of manipulation to it. And so if you don't understand the full system to it, you kind of conform to this exact theme. And so again, I'm not knocking the themes that we have. There's a lot that went into these themes, but starting from a theme that we say that you have to start from, oftentimes is not a good business model, right? And so you can build, so we have not only the ability to import sites, but you have the ability to set up your own themes like this. I didn't show you this, but when you're inside here, you can quickly change all of the, fonts, the main colors, the subcolors, the font sizes, all of this stuff. All this is built into this theme to make it easy for a user to start from. And again, if they don't like this theme, whatever, they need multiple themes to choose from. And that's where it comes into most Ligna users who are advanced users. They can actually build out these full-blown themes here with all the content blocks that they want to have the user to easily change and drop in new blocks. In addition to that, all the pages that come with it, they can choose different home pages. So there's a lot of functionality that went into this and make this a theme engine for you to use. However, again, if you're not an advanced user, or if you're not underneath a user within the platform that's done this for you, you're kind of limited to what we have existing. Now, many have gone through the training courses about importing sites. Probably, again, I'm super technical, trying not to be technical on this call, and I'm actually trying to make this shorter than all the other calls I throw up on because it is a very simple functionality. But there's a blank import where you can design something from scratch. You have to design all the responsiveness, all of that, have to understand all the functionality of the CMS, which again, if you're used to something else, there's a learning curve, time is money, I get it. Or learn the blank import where you can import your site, which a lot of advanced users do and truly appreciate that. However, today, you can actually import your own sites without being an advanced user, literally with a click of a button. So let's jump into that real quick. So I'm gonna go out here to, there's tons of different theme providers. Buy a theme. What's important is, in most cases when you buy a theme, well, in all cases when you buy a theme, unless you're buying it within the CMS that you're getting it from, you got to download those assets, load them up, install it, go through that process. Not as straightforward if you haven't done it before, but you don't have to do any of that stuff. Just buy your theme, get your license, or if it's free, come out here. And so in this case, I'm going to grab a free one. Let's see. Here we go. Let's just go with this one. So good looking theme. I can easily mold my business to this. Whatever, I change out the color scheme. I'm starting from something that looks pretty good that I can use, that has a lot of different options for me. So when you're starting with your import, there's only one important thing that you need to know. And that's whether it's relative path or not. If you don't know what relative path means to the assets, when I mean assets, the logo asset, these images, the CSS file, the JavaScripts, all that stuff. If you don't know what relative path, don't even worry about it. Do not check off relative path when you click on import. Just leave that blank. However, you can find out real quick by just literally right-clicking and hitting view page source within your browser. And I know this is, again, I've dealt with all shapes and sizes of users and their experience. Some of y'all are looking at it as like, this is great, but all you're looking for, if you're on WordPress, again, Divi, Elementor, 99% of the time, all the assets are linked with your domain. So don't check off the relative path if you're an Elementor site or Divi site or WordPress. There are some assets that are not linked, with your domain. We've compensated for that. However, if the site is relative path, there is some added benefits because we go, there's significant value on the relative structure that we do. Because just to point out, we're not doing what a lot of these importers do, which are just simply importing your site as it is. And so why that is not good is that all your assets still live over where you're actually importing your site from. So the second you move your domain, your site breaks. All those images are gone. They're not here. We actually bring your entire infrastructure into our platform, map it, put it in an easy place for you to manage that, to manage all those assets like a full backup, right? And even to the HTML and all the files, you have an entire backup of your site living within our platform, also recoded, restructured, and built specifically for our CMS. So again, seems simple, really awesome. Anyways, I know I'm trailing on. So here, this is relative path because there's not a domain here. Again, view source, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, don't select relative path. There's no domain here, we're good to go. So now I'm gonna grab the domain. So a few things on the domain. Again, it doesn't really matter on the domain that you put in here. Now, throughout our system, we have different ways of putting domains in. This is actually the domain to where the website is hosted at. You don't want to, obviously, you don't want to go here and provide the root domain. That's not going to do anything. Obviously, with the Steam engine here or the Steam site, it's in this folder here. So this folder is where the whole site lives. We already saw that it's relative path. We're going to put it in here. There's no /. If you do, it's not a big deal. If you put HTTP : / or HTTPS, not a big deal. There's instructions that say don't do it, but I've learned throughout the years to compensate for that. However, this is the format that is ideal. Not a big deal. Just make sure it's actually the domain that pulls up the website, not the root domain like some of the other parts in our platform. Click on relative path, hit submit. So that's it. What's happening now is adding it to the queue. This queue is going out and building the site, putting everything together, going out and pulling all the asset folders. I don't want to get too into the import process with our site, but basically, if you're an advanced user, you understand there's sections within the head, there's sections above the close of the body. You're taking those assets, you're loading it up into our asset manager, you're rewriting all the paths. Even if you're doing find and replace, you still have to go in some of the files and actually do find and replace for the relative paths that are in those files. You're taking the code in between the body, you're bringing that in, you're changing up all those paths there, and now you have your home page. Now you got to go to each other page and do the same thing, right? Between the body. Again, if you've done it, it's quick, but if you've never done it before and you don't understand HTML, believe me, it goes over your head, and I understand that. So after you import the site, you're literally a few minutes later, here's your site. Now you're working inside our platform with a site that you like, that you can start configuring, whether it be changing out, and this site's actually a text for the logo. You can drag an image over into that section and upload your own logo if you don't want the text. Obviously point and click and double click, change out whatever you want within the site. As you go through, double click on images, and I'll just grab that ugly dude there, put him in there. And so now you're just kind of configuring something that's already built that you like, whether, again, if this is your site and you're bringing it in, you just want to be able to manage it here and leverage the Nearme technology and the workflow that's associated with, all that great stuff, great. But if you're starting with a theme, you're starting with something that is already responsive. I mean, everything from the tablet view to that view, everything is already responsive for you. And of course, you can manipulate this even further on each of these views to make them the way you want. Now, one of the things about our platform, you'll notice here on this banner, if you scroll over images, you'll see the little image thing. That means you can just double click, replace the image. Simple enough, double click within text. However, there's sections within the site, like this background image here, that's not as straightforward as other systems may be when you're using Elementor. That may be a big image, and then now you're layering text on top of an image. A lot of these responsive sites and themes that you built use background images for the actual divs that are within that. And so that could get complicated if you're not, understand everything. But it's really actually pretty simple once you understand it's layer driven. And we have this little layer tab that you can just click on. And this will show you what layer you're on. So if I click here, I'm on this layer. I realize I'm not on that image. I can click on that image and I can know that I'm on that image because I can turn it on and off. So as you click throughout, this will show you what layer you're on. So if you don't see the image thing here and you want to change out the background image, you can click here. Now, some divs may be actually a class, right? So there's decoration classes where you can actually set a background image, things like that. So they'll appear here. So again, that's just going through and understanding how to use this part of the system, whether it be styles or the layers. But here, you found the image here, it's that image. One thing I kind of don't like about this theme is semi-lazy, right? They could have used CSS to kind of make this design here with the background color you can change, but it's just one big image. So you got to be mindful of that if you're going to use this theme or any theme that's kind of like this that uses a background image. Here, if I replace the image, the whole thing's replaced. So you don't get this cool little, whatever. But at any rate, I have my image here. So if you're going to use the layer, which you can't double click, just click on the settings, click on replace image, go pick out whatever image that, you want to use. Of course, you're going to want something a little darker. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Maybe, your image, whatever, put a little darker so you can see, or change the colors to white here, right? So you can quickly change out and customize these and really make the site the way you want. What's also cool is bringing in, again, all these pages. So every page that comes in, by the way, you would have to hit save here for you to save that. But as you go into the about page, everything here is existing that's on the site. So it brings in all your pages. In addition to that, so we have a lot of cool functionality when it comes to like our global block system. So global blocks are like your navigation. One thing here, let's say this about page, this is the template page that you want to use, but you want to call this services or whatever. You would click on settings here. I'm going to open it up in a new tab. Click on settings. You can come over here and change the page name. You can change the page URL. And then in the system here, the builder, click on the link, click on settings, and you're going to want to change the actual link here to whatever you put in here. So whatever you put, about us or whatever, all it ever is / the name with whatever values here in the page URL. So that's how you link to all your internal pages. So once you kind of build out your navigation and the pages you want to use, we also have what are called global blocks. So global blocks are, let's say I want this navigation to be used on multiple pages. Matter of fact, let me go back to the home page and do this real quick. So these global blocks are like your footer, your navigation, CTAs, testimonials, call to actions that you have that you want to use in other parts of the site. But you don't have to go to every single page and make these changes. So we have what are called global blocks. The only thing to know about global blocks is that there's a wrapper around. So again, these layers, which comes in handy is clicking on this little layer section. And you'll see I'm in this div, but look at the path. It's all underneath nav. So if I select nav, now I have the whole thing. And so I can click on this little global icon and I can call it whatever I want, like navigation, whatever. Call it whatever you want, hit add block. Actually, so you need to go a little bit higher than that on this for the nav because there's a second div up here. So if you ever experience that where something changes when you add the global block, just hit this little back button here and click this little up button to go up, or just click on that div. So now you have that whole div that you want. And you're going to click on that global block, and I'm going to call it, navigation, and then just hit add block. So now you have a global block that's here. So when I save this, I can reuse down here this global block on a navigation. So let's say I wanted to go create a new page, and I want to start blank. I want to start using some of these blocks. I can start saving these blocks to use them over here to where when I create a new page, I'll just do a blank template, test page. So I create a new page. Of course, it's blank, but I can drag over my global block, and there's my global block. So what's cool about this, by the way, I'm on this new page. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just call this About Us. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save, right? So it's About Us now. But if I go back to the home page, which has that global block, It's now about us, right? So you can use these global blocks throughout your entire site, however you want. Footers, headers, CTAs, inside pages where you have sub-navigations. You're going to want to use that. So again, I'm going to do more videos on all the different elements here and how to use them and really ultimately break down how to leverage this. I think where the bridge gap happens here is obviously being able to bring in something that you love and be able to use it within our CMS. Whether, again, a template you bought, you don't have to download any assets or upload any assets. Literally put the domain in. It's going to bring everything in. By the way, when I say bring everything in, click on Files, click on Home, click on Imports, and then inside your import, you have all of your pages, including all of your files, images, JavaScript files, your entire library of everything that's brought in from that site, saved, easily accessible to make changes, download, alter, whatever, right? Complete backup of your site. So we talk about backup. This is like backup of backup. Clearly backup, but you're like backing up to backup. At any rate, this is a game changer in my opinion. Let me know what you think. If you want to jump now, I'm going to do a couple of things real quick on an advanced side of it. And hopefully this doesn't go over your head at this point. But to advanced users, you will appreciate this import module because remember when you import, and here's how this section works, right? So you have your template section, your head and your scripts. If I was to import this manually, I would need all the assets to this site. I would go into my asset manager and I would import inside a folder I would drag and drop. So if I wanted to import here, which I wouldn't, obviously I would have a folder, drag all my assets over that I get from my download file. They all appear in here. Once they appear in here, you'll have a relative path. So there's a relative path to it, right? So if you're inside a folder, here's your relative path. You're going to grab that relative path. Then you're going to do view source within the site. And you're going to come over here and grab the sources. And you're going to bring those in to the head section and drop them in. And now you're going to apply that relative path link in front of or replacing the domain if it's not relative path to those assets. Hit apply. Now you're going to do that with the close of the body, right? You come down to the close of the body, do the same thing. Grab these JavaScript files, whatever files that are down here, add them to the script section, map them, boom, hit apply. Now you have the structure of the site installed. Then you literally just take everything between the body and you're going to drop that into an editor and do find and replace or manually go one by one to all the images that are in here and drop in your source and throw it in the raw code editor, drop it in and save it. And that literally gets you the theme installed. Now, of course, now you have to add all the pages. You have to troubleshoot it. There's a lot of little things that pop up. We've probably over the last year and a half mapped all the things that have come up in all this import process. So hopefully, even if you do have some issues installing more advanced themes or whatever, if you're an advanced user, starting from here and troubleshooting, and will save you a significant amount of time. But as a non-advanced user, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. If you have any issues importing, please drop us a line on the intercom chat or reach out to me directly or on this channel and share the link or message me the link, and definitely we'll add it to the queue. Again, more imports, the more small little issues that pop up we can code for. I'm telling you, a year and a half of doing this, we've covered a lot. So let me know what you think. Again, hopefully subscribe to my channel. I got a lot of good stuff coming out, especially about how to leverage all these things. The Loop Data App module, building your own plugins, giving you the ability to set up on-demand sites, all that good stuff. So please subscribe. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.